the strength that's killing you, why Black women must stop surviving and start living. Welcome to Soft Girl Era, the sacred space where strong Black women unlearn survival, rediscover softness, and reclaim the joy, rest, and freedom they deserve without guilt, without apology, and without explanation. I'm your host, LeAnne Dolce, pronounced Dolce, like sweet softness whispered in French. I'm your guide from burnout to boundaries, from doing to being, from strong to soft and loving every second of it. Today, I had the profound honor of sitting down with Chelsi Allen, a woman whose journey embodies the very essence of transformation, resilience, and the courage to turn pain into purpose. Chelsi is an alchemist of the soul, someone who has survived unimaginable loss and emerged not broken, but beautifully whole. She is making the world a better place by showing us that healing is not only possible, it is our birthright. And today I want to share with you the wisdom, the insights, and the stories that emerge from our conversation because they hold the keys to unlocking a softer, more compassionate way of being in this world. Let me start with a question that might feel uncomfortable, a question that might make you shift in your seat, a question that might challenge everything you've been taught to believe about yourself. What if the very thing we've been taught to believe about strength is actually killing us? What if the armor we've been wearing, the cape we've been carrying, the hustle we've been glorifying is not a badge of honor, but a slow, silent death sentence to our joy, our peace, our softness, and our very souls? We live in a world that has taught us, especially as Black women, that survival is strength, that enduring is excellence, that carrying everyone and everything on our backs without complaint, without rest, without breaking is what makes us worthy. We've been told that if we show vulnerability, we are weak. If we ask for help, we are inadequate. If we rest, we are lazy. If we say no, we are selfish. And so we carry on. We carry the weight of our families, our communities, our workplaces, our churches, our neighborhoods. We carry it all. And we smile while we do it. We perform strength. We perform resilience. We perform invincibility. But here's the truth that Chelsi Allen and so many others are teaching us, the truth that is disruptive, uncomfortable, and absolutely necessary. Survival is not the same as living. And strength, real strength, is not about how much you can carry. It's about knowing when to put it down. It's about having the courage to say, I cannot do this alone. It's about giving yourself permission to rest, to heal, to be soft, to be human. Let me tell you about Wanda Butts. In 2006, Wanda lost her son Josh to drowning. Josh didn't know how to swim. And in that moment of unimaginable grief, in that moment when the world as she knew it shattered into a million pieces, Wanda could have closed herself off from the world. She could have let the weight of that loss crush her. She could have survived in silence, carrying that pain alone, the way so many of us have been taught to do. But instead, she did something extraordinary. She did something that required a kind of strength most of us never talk about. She turned her grief into a mission. Wanda founded the Josh Project, a drowning prevention and water safety initiative in Toledo, Ohio, dedicated to teaching children in her community how to swim. Now, here's what's important. Wanda didn't just start a program, she confronted a systemic gap, a generational fear of water that has disproportionately affected Black families for decades. She turned her personal tragedy into a public service. She took the most painful moment of her life and transformed it into a legacy of life saving work. Hundreds of children have learned to swim because of her work. Families have been empowered, policies have been influenced, and the stereotypes about Black people in swimming have been challenged. One child, one lesson, one life at a time. Wanda's story is a testament to what Chelsi Allen shared with me during our conversation. Adversity can be transformed into purpose and strength. Even when faced with unimaginable losses, grief that feels like it will swallow you whole, pain that makes you question everything you thought you knew about life, there is always the potential to evolve, to heal, and to use those experiences as fuel for growth and inspiration. But here's the counterintuitive truth, the truth that disrupts everything we've been taught. That transformation doesn't happen by staying strong in the way the world defines it. It doesn't happen by gritting your teeth and pushing through. It doesn't happen by pretending you're okay when you're falling apart. It happens by allowing yourself to be soft enough to feel the pain, to grieve, to ask for help, and to rebuild from a place of love, not just survival. Now, let's talk about healing, because healing is not a destination. It's not something you check off a list. It's not a place you arrive at and then you're done. Healing is a journey, and it's deeply personal and ongoing. Chelsea reminded me of this truth during our conversation, and it shook me to my core. She said that healing from trauma, abandonment, and grief is not a linear process. It's messy, it's painful, it's 2 steps forward and 3 steps back. It requires self forgiveness, spiritual exploration, and the courage to remain open to love and new possibilities, even when the world feels unforgiving, even when you've been hurt so deeply that you wonder if you'll ever trust again, even when you've lost so much that you question if there's anything left to hope for. Dr. Thema Bryant knows this intimately. Dr. Bryant is a Black clinical psychologist, the president of the American Psychological Association, and one of the most influential voices in mental health today. But before she became all of that, before she stood on stages and wrote books and hosted podcasts, she was a survivor. She survived childhood abuse. She navigated family challenges that would have broken most people. She carried wounds that many of us carry in silence, wounds that we hide behind our degrees, our titles, our accomplishments, our smiles. And instead of hiding those wounds, instead of pretending they didn't exist, instead of performing strength while dying inside, she used them as a foundation for her life's work. Dr. Bryant integrated spirituality, therapy, and community engagement into her healing process. She developed culturally relevant mental health resources for Black audiences, resources that speak to our unique pain, our unique trauma, our unique resilience. She wrote books. She hosted the Homecoming podcast. She led workshops around the world. And through it all, she has destigmatized mental health conversations, inspired countless individuals to seek healing, and influenced national discussions on trauma informed care. But here's what makes Dr. Bryant's story so powerful, so disruptive, so necessary. She didn't wait until she was fully healed to help others. She healed in real time in public with vulnerability and grace. She showed us that you don't have to have it all together to be worthy of love, support, and community. She showed us that healing is not about perfection. It's about progress. It's about showing up even when you're scared. It's about being honest, even when it's uncomfortable. It's about being human, even when the world expects you to be superhuman. And that, my friends, is the essence of the soft girl era. It's about dropping the cape. It's about releasing the mask. It's about saying, I am healing, and that is enough. I am learning, I am growing, I am becoming, and I don't have to pretend to be perfect to be worthy. Now, I want to shift gears for a moment and talk about vulnerability, because vulnerability is not weakness. Let me say that again, louder for the people in the back. Vulnerability is not weakness. Vulnerability is power. It is the bridge that connects us to each other. It is the language of authenticity. It is the tool that allows us to break cycles of silence and stigma, so especially within the Black professional and entrepreneurial community, where we've been taught that showing emotion is unprofessional, that asking for help is a sign of failure. that being anything less than perfect is unacceptable. Let me introduce you to Pinky Cole. Pinky is the founder of Slutty Vegan, a plant based restaurant chain that has become a cultural phenomenon, a movement, a symbol of what's possible when you refuse to let your past define your future. But Pinky's journey to success was not a straight line. It was not a fairy tale. It was not an overnight success story. She faced trauma. She lost her business in a house fire. She dealt with financial instability that would have made most people give up. She was doubted and dismissed as a Black woman in the food industry, told that she didn't belong, that she didn't have what it takes, that she should just quit while she was ahead. But instead of letting those setbacks define her, instead of internalizing the doubt and the rejection and the pain, she channeled her pain into creativity. She built a brand rooted in authenticity, community, and empowerment. She leveraged social media to create buzz and break barriers. She showed up as her full, unapologetic self, and she gave others permission to do the same. And today, Slutty Vegan has expanded to multiple locations, created jobs, and inspired a new wave of Black entrepreneurship. Pinky's story is a reminder that turning pain into purpose is not just about surviving, it's about thriving. It's about being so unapologetically yourself that you give others permission to do the same. And that's what Chelsi Allen embodies. That's what this soft girl era is all about. It's about embracing healing, wholeness, softness, and emotional honesty, not as a trend, but as a lifestyle rebellion. It's about rejecting the narrative that we have to be strong all the time. It's about reclaiming our right to rest, to feel, to be soft, to be human. So here's the question I want to leave you with today. The question that Chelsi and I explored deeply in our conversation, the question that I believe has the power to change your life if you're brave enough to answer it honestly. How are you learning to be soft in a world that taught you survival? What role, what mask, what responsibility are you no longer willing to carry? How has your definition of strength evolved? What does your soft girl era look and feel like right now? What past wound are you still tending to? And what's helping? How are you actively creating space for joy, rest, and boundaries? And how have you turned survival into something sacred or supportive for others? These are not easy questions, but they are necessary questions because the truth is, we have been conditioned to believe that rest is laziness, that boundaries are selfish, that softness is weakness, that asking for help is failure, that showing emotion is unprofessional, that being anything less than perfect is unacceptable. But I'm here to tell you on behalf of Chelsi Allen, on behalf of Wanda Butts, on behalf of Dr. Thema Bryant, on behalf of Pinky Cole, and on behalf of every Black woman who has ever felt like she had to carry the world on her shoulders, you are allowed to rest. You are allowed to say no. You are allowed to be soft. You are allowed to heal. You are allowed to choose yourself, not out of burnout, but out of reverence. And here's the beautiful thing, the thing that makes this work so powerful, so transformative, so necessary. When you choose yourself, when you embrace your soft girl era, you don't just transform your own life, you transform the lives of everyone around you. You give your children permission to rest. You give your friends permission to set boundaries. You give your community permission to heal. You become a living example of what it looks like to move from surviving to thriving, from doing to being, from strong to soft. Chelsi Allen reminded me of something during our conversation that I will never forget. She said, there is nothing that can break you, not loss, not grief, not betrayal, not divorce, not trauma, not abandonment, nothing. You are solid in your faith. You believe in yourself, you love yourself, and you will fight for your family and your well being through anything that comes your way. You still have dreams, you still have purpose, you still have love to give, and you are free. free from the need to prove yourself, free from the weight of other people's expectations, free to spread positivity and love, even to those who think they don't deserve it. So here is my challenge to you. Here is my call to action. Here is the disruptive, uncomfortable, necessary truth that I need you to hear. Stop performing strength. Stop pretending you're okay when you're not. Stop carrying burdens that were never yours to carry. Stop sacrificing your joy, your peace, your softness, your very life for the sake of being strong. Because the strength that's been killing you is not strength at all, it's survival. And you were not put on this earth to merely survive. You were put here to live, to thrive, to love, to rest, to heal, to be soft, to be free. Your soft girl era is not about becoming someone new. It's about returning to who you've always been underneath the armor, underneath the cape, underneath the hustle. It's about reclaiming the joy, the rest, and the freedom that have always been yours. And it starts today. It starts now. It starts with you. So I'm asking you, what will you put down today? What will you release? What will you reclaim? Because the world needs you not as a martyr, not as a machine, but as a whole, healed, soft, free human being. And that, my friends, is the revolution. Thank you.